Welcome back to Road Gang Radio. Join Jimmy Mack and Lindsay Lawler's Gang of the Airwaves by subscribing to Radio Nemo on YouTube.
We celebrate all kinds.
Make it official. After all, if you're listening, you're already in the gang. The Road Gang.
It's a little feisty around here. Let's head on over and see what's cooking in the chat this morning. We find our friend Scott Cooper, who says, "Good morning, Jimmy Mack, cup of coffee." Marshall says, "I'm always careful. I always practice safe sex. Just talk about it." Well done, sir. The Grumpy Pete says, "Greeting from the Coswalds. Listening to Road Gang Radio as we drive around, taking in some 15th century English sheep farming history." That is outstanding. Bruce Almighty says, "Good morning, hashtag RGR." And Lovey and Earl, as always, of the 504. "Good morning, family. Everyone have a great Thanksgiving." I could not agree with that sentiment more. You want to talk about a great American? Chris Miles is a great American, and we love having him on the show. He's a retired combat vet who saw combat on Rhode Irish and Afghanistan. For the purposes of this show, though, he is, military relations manager at Sonepar, and a mover and a shaker, and a guy who's a hard charger and one of our favorite gamers in the game. Good morning, Chris. Happy pre-Thanksgiving, man. How you doing?
Hey, good morning. How are you doing this morning?
I don't have any complaints. I've been talking. Your ears must be burning because Nick DeMeo and Sean Horton and I and Andre have been talking about you. And my wife is over the moon. She can't wait to hear this interview either. You're a big gamer, by the way, and we're going to talk about Gotcha 6 Gaming. Gotcha 6 Gaming. So let's kind of dig into this.
I have to share with you. I was actually grinding Call of Duty last night because I wanted to be able to I actually made it to Prestige 20, level 1,000 last night.
Nice.
On DMZ and Call of Duty. I had to pull up Modern Warfare 2 back up last night.
Oh, wow. I mean, this is like we should have led with that. I'm disappointed in myself. I should have actually begun with this, man. That's outstanding. Let me ask you, when did you start gaming? And talk to us a little bit about why it's so important in regards to building community and how it actually plays a great role in making sure that vets have a great life after they make the transition.
Yeah, interesting. So I started gaming back when I was a kid, back when, the Commodore 64, when you had to put in MS-DOS code into a computer, and then Nintendo, and then all those gaming consoles. And, I fell out of it for many years while I was in the military at the senior level. And it wasn't until COVID-19 happened, and I was either watching cornhole or something else on TV, and my son asked me if I knew what esports was, and I didn't. And so I started watching Call of Duty players, creators, and that's how I got back into gaming again. And then really it was a bond for my son and I to start reconnecting. I came out of the military as he went into the military. We didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things, and that was the one thing that we could discuss that then ignited one of us down a path of discussion we didn't want. So until this day, he lives up in Portland, Oregon, and I just bought him Battlefield. I just bought him a new update for COD, and that's our way of connecting and doing things online and spending time together now. But when you look at the Gotcha 6 Gaming Tournament that's coming up with the Madden Tournament, really a couple of things that I highlight is, the camaraderie across the nation. You look at a gaming tournament, it creates a shared mission, just like in the service. The teamwork and strategy matter, and that builds camaraderie. The tournament will be online, but it's a way for veterans and families from every corner of the nation, even globally, that they can join in, cheer on each other, and feel like they're part of something bigger. And then the event, what I love about it is actually extends into the reach of the Gotcha 6 network, which when you actually look at what the Gotcha 6 network is, it actually 99% of the footprint of the country and the 20.6 million veterans that are out there, it has some type of reach back that they can actually reach into, whether it's for mental health, whether it's for, their Viva program to take in, help fertility for military families, or their veteran portal, because when you don't have a community, when you don't have a job and you don't see a future, that's when veterans start slipping down a road, so it also helps into that mental health and stress relief. And then just empowerment and visibility. You got a lot of great young people out there in the military right now, and, they play games. Esports is, opens new doors of skills, leadership roles, and pathways. It's just another way to also raise awareness for veteran issues, inviting civilian officers to engage and support military families. So I think it's a great tournament. It's a great endeavor that the Bob Witter Foundation is going down, and it's something that the Sonepar Military Employee Resource Group and myself that we support moving forward.
Just to make sure people are clear, at the Bob Woodruff Foundation, that actually has a page dedicated to it. It's going to be happening in 7 days and 15 hours, as a matter of fact. The Got Your Six Gaming Madden Tournament. You can actually donate to the event. On a strange data note, I want to point out something to some people. A lot of people don't understand when they hear about what a small percentage of veterans actually make up the population of the United States. It's a small percentage. It's not a small number. That's often people confuse the two. Remember that 1%, 2%, 3%, 10% of the American population. 20 million is a lot of folks out there, and a lot of them are looking for community. And the thing that you and I, when we first got a chance to talk in a meeting that we had, I was almost heartbroken because you were in your gaming room and I was here in the studio, and I just felt less of a gamer because of it. But there's a lot of folks who use these platforms in a very healthy way. Our general manager, who is not only a gamer, he was an ambassador for Xbox for a long time, often says when everybody plays, everybody wins. Can you talk about, in a little bit more depth, what this community currently means to many veterans and how many more we can actually reach and connect with beyond just the fun? Beyond the fun of the accomplishments that you and I have talked about, it actually has long-term positive effects for getting people to kind of reacclimate into society, to be able to reacclimate in regards to friendships, and to also figure out ways to trust people more to start talking again.
Yeah, it's interesting. You have a lot of different organizations. It's funny. I just sent my first message on Discord before we got on the radio today. So I just joined the Bob Witter Foundation Discord group, and then they actually have 2.3K followers now on their Twitch account. So a lot of people need to realize that those are actually communities and outreach. There's different rooms, different chats, different groups. Even I was playing one of my handheld games the other day, and I had a area salesman out of DC. We're actually meeting for a drink at the Veterans Ready Summit on that Tuesday. He's actually going to come up and meet me, and we're going to kind of do an informal job interview while we're sitting there having a drink to see if he's a good fit for the organization. So it's amazing where you come across people, how you connect with small conversations. But I liked what you just said earlier, when we played, so I really think the Got Your Six tournament proves that when we play together, we heal together, we grow together. Esports and video games they're more than just games. It's a mission of connection, resilience, and empowerment for our military community. And really the biggest supporters to the military community is our civilian community. You look for years, the VFWs, the American Legions, but it takes bringing that community in to let those veterans and those veteran families know that they're accepted back in the military. And that's the hardest piece, and you can say, well, we haven't been at a war for a while. It's the mindset that is at war. It takes that time to take and reconnect and realize, hey, I really do fit in here. There really is a place here for me. I can take and fit in with the civilian job, and just rebuilding that entire life in a lot of instances. So I think these type of events, especially positive events, is what it's going to take moving forward. This is just a foundation setter as well. Keep in mind, we'll have future wars, we'll have future conflicts. So when we put these programs in place and we build them and we maintain them, this gives us a positive place for veterans that are joining the military to come to now and realize that there's a community in there that they can take and reach out to. When you take a look at the 22 a day that were committing suicide and are committing suicide, this is a way for them to take another outlet where they can take and reach out to that connects with the younger generation. If you take a look at a lot of magazines, a lot of advertisements, our service members aren't going on there, but they're going on to these other platforms, and this is where they get the news, their updates, and their messaging from.
It's interesting, too, because there's a marvelous book. I'd recommend it to you as well if you haven't, Achilles in Vietnam, where it's a beautiful book that he takes a lot of classic literature and shows you how Shakespeare and Homer and the Aeneid and all of those classic works of literature do a marvelous job of actually laying out the what it is that PTSD is to a large degree. He argues that the birth of the commercial flight in many ways did a great deal of damage to helping people heal from PTSD because you'd get dropped off at an airport and back home you were. that there was no boat to come across the sea with, no decompression chamber for a lot of people to move through as they re-entered the world to kind of process what had happened and where they were going next. In many ways, a lot of these spaces, especially if they're military friendly, do give people space to work things out, to kind of sort things out. And I don't mean like in any sort of deep existential way, although that can happen, but it really does create a space of reacclimation. It really does create a space of decompression. We've seen the studies. We know it doesn't desensitize people. We know it creates joy, and we know most people can tell the difference between playing a game and being a goofball and having a lot of fun and really being in a genuine, bona fide, terrifying and dangerous situation. And I was kind of wanting to get your thoughts about that. Do you think in some ways, in a small way, it does create that liminal space of the decompression chamber between being deep under the water and back to the surface?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when you look at mental health and stress relief in a whole, I think video games actually give service members and our family members a safe outlet to relax, reduce stress and find joy, and just have that moment to be able to take in, just find that calmness. So I think, this tournament isn't just about competition. It's about peer support, gives a place for the people that are actually on this tournament watching, whichever, because it's interesting. A lot of people, you'll find out, they don't play video games, but they actually go on Twitch and they actually watch people play video games, and it gives them that same time of calm. But it also gives them a place to connect, share their experiences, and know they're not alone because they see the same people in chat. They connect with them. They chat. It's a different way to connect, and I'm learning that. But it is a safe place to actually be able to take and do it, And I would tell you, when you look at the mental health and stress relief, one thing that Sonepar looked at when we looked at Bob Witter Foundation's mission, is that, this closes gaps in mental health care and strengthens the resilience in our community, which is one thing that we're looking for our veterans that we're bringing on board and hiring, and then, working within our organization. So I think their program with what we're looking for, they go hand in hand with each other.
Talk to me a little bit of how it's going to work. It is such, like I said, I'm so excited about this, and you guys are going to do not a test run, the real thing with the Madden tournament, but the idea is there are bigger plans and a bigger vision. Much of it is springing from your head. Talk to me about what that first tournament is going to look like, how it will actually play out. A lot of our listeners like games. I'm a big fan, as you know, both of playing them and of also watching people play them. There's a guy that does a PlayStation channel for PlayStation that every year plays through the beginning of Metal Gear Solid, the original one, and he plays the whole opening to perfection without killing anybody. Does the whole mission without killing a single person as a silent agent. So there's all kinds of fun things you can do. But talk about how this Madden tournament, will work.
Yeah. So for this tournament on December 4th, it's going to be an open tournament. You're going to have 256 participants. And then the 4 finalists will play show matches on the second day on 5 December. If you want to register for the event, you can go to twitch.tv/bwforg, and you'll be able to take and see more of the event stats there. And then the December 5th is the invite tournament, which will actually be broadcast on twitch.tv. And then that's going to be finalists versus your Madden pros. So you have Dubdot, who you can find on Twitch, DUBDOT. Dubdot has 145K followers. He was the 2017 Madden Bowl champion, and he's made over $160,000 in tournament winnings. He is also the oldest Madden major winner of all time, so it gives me some hope that I can still be good at video games. And then you have Slim Ghost, who has 20,000 plus followers, and he's a retired Army veteran. And he's a competitive Madden player. I was just looking at his site last night. He's actually a competitive 2026 Madden team this year on his site. So when you look at those, you can go to player sign up. If you take and search Bob Witter Foundation, Gotcha 6 Gaming, you'll see the registration there. You can also go down and join the Bob Witter Foundation Discord for all announcements and updates. So I think it's going to be a great tournament. I'd like to also thank Veterans United Home Loans for helping sponsor this event, and then Sonepar, our military employee resource group, sponsoring the event. But I think it's a good first step for gamers, veterans, supporters nationwide to honor service and support of veterans and their families, and continue to take and build upon this.
By the way, we're going to be the goal here is to make this a flagship moment for both Brad Bentley's Vet Ready Summit. Big thanks to our friends at Fastport for giving us the studio and this opportunity, and of course the Bob Woodruff Foundation's first major gaming initiative, the Madden Tournament, has sponsorship opportunities. $1,500 for the Madden Tournament in May of 2026, month of the military child, $1,500, and then of course the Veteran Ready Summit gaming activation is $5,000. It's all great stuff, Chris. We got to do our pledge, national anthem, and all that groovy stuff and get this show started. But we wanted to drop you in, get a chance to say happy Thanksgiving to you. Always love talking to you, and I will see you in Washington, D.C.